Welcome. In this video, I am going to create this beautiful and very simple animation using the Blender geometry node. So how we can create this very simple animation? Very easy. Now let's jump into the video. All right, we are in Blender and here I select this cube and delete this. Now here I search for the mesh, which is the torus, and here I make some changings, and here I decrease this minor segment to 4 and increase this major segment to 100, something like that. Now we have this kind of shape which we can use in geometry node. Before enter into the geometry node, I select this and enter into the edit mode. And here I add some loop cuts to all these 4 faces of this torus. So we can use in geometry node to place instances. So here press Ctrl R and here I add some loop cuts. I think 6 is looking nice. And repeat the same process for all the other 3. Here I select and press Ctrl R and do the same. Back to this, Ctrl R and do the same. And for this last, nice. Now we have this torus with the nice subdivision. So back to the object mode and enter into the geometry node workspace. And here I hit this new button to create a new node tree. And I use this group input because this group input is connected with our geometry. So here I search simply instance on point and place it here. And for the instances, here I search for the icosphere and place it here and connect with the instances. Now we have this kind of pattern. And here I increase this subdivision to 4 and decrease this radius 0.004. These instances now become very small. Here I decrease this to find some suitable number. I think 0.04 is looking nice. Now we have this structure. Now I want to animate this. So for that, after this instance of point, we can animate these instances, but I want to animate this whole structure. So for that, here I use this space to animate this whole structure. So for that, here I search for the set position and connect it here. And here I search for the combine XYZ and connect this with the phase offset. So we can deal these 3 axes individually. And here I search for the wave texture to animate this and connect this with the Z axis. Now we have this. Now here I make some changings to this wave texture. Here I decrease this detail to 0 and also decrease this scale very small, something like 0.3. Now we have this kind of pattern, and here I choose this y-axis, so we can see the wave textures along the y-axis. Now we have this, and to make these disturbance small, here I use the map range and place it here. Here I make some changing to this map range. First, here I put -1 and decrease this to make this disturbance some very small, something like this, and see this in this view. And here I move this whole pattern in the middle of the 3D cursor, something like that. Now we have this kind of pattern in our 3D viewport. And here I use this offset value to animate this. So how we can animate this? So here I end this frame up to 120. And to make this animation fully looping, I always start from the frame 0 and hover this phase offset value and hit I to insert the keyframe, and now jump to the last frame, which is the 120. And to make this animation fully looping, here I put any even number 2 multiplied with pi and enter and hit I to insert the keyframe. Now you can see if I run this simulation at the end of this 120, you can see there is no jerk and our animation is fully looping. Nice. Now I want to add the material for this structure. So for that, here I add the set material, and you can see the icospheres. We make them to smooth. So for that, here I search for the set edge smooth. Now our icospheres are fully smooth, and here I search for the set material, and here in material properties I create a new material and pick this material into the geometry node workspace, so we can apply the material to these structures. Nice. Now we enter into the material. Here we create a very simple material for this structure. Increase this metallic value to 1. We can see the material in the shading viewport, and decrease their roughness very small, something like that, and also make this very dark. I think this is looking nice. This is the very simple material for the pattern. Now back to the layout, and here I do some composition to add the camera and lights and also background to this structure. Here I search for the plane and scale this something like that, and control A to apply the scale, and also move this plane along z-axis, very small, something like here. Nice. And I also want to add the material for this background. Before, here I search for the camera and set our view something like this, and control Alt 0 to enter into the camera view to our selected 3D viewport. And here I move this in the middle of the camera, and here I select this camera, and here in lens type I choose orthographic view, something like that, and make this resolution something like that, and in the middle of this camera. Now we have this scene, and now select this background plane, and I create a material for this background, and enter into the material workspace and also in the camera, so we can see our material. So here I delete this principal BSDF for this plane, and here I search for the color ramp and connect with the surface. And here I use the gradient texture, place it here, and connect with the color ramp, something like that, and control T to add the mapping and the texture coordinate. This is due to the node triangular add-on enable in my Blender. You can also enable in the edit and preferences, and here I select this objective coordinate, and now you can see our gradient texture is applied onto this plane. Nice. And here I choose this type of this gradient spherical, something like that, and in the color ramp here I choose the color ramp type from linear to B-spline, and now we have this. And from the color ramp I add the color to this background plane, and here I select this white pointer and make this color something like that, and also this black pointer, and make this color something like this. Now we have very little pink color onto this background and a gradient texture in the middle of this plane. Nice. Now enter into the layout, and here enter into the render view, and here I choose the EV render engine for this animation, and here I add the light to over these Torus. So for that, here I search for the light, and here I add the area light, and scale this light to cover this whole structure, and move this light to z-axis, something like that. And here in light properties, where I choose the same color to see the reflection on the sphere, and here I increase the strength, something like this. Now we have this kind of pattern, and if I run this simulation, then you can see this is looking so nice. And press F12, and now you can see this animation in rendered view. Thanks for watching.